G'day fellas. Welcome to the third game in the series between nOel and Harrison. Spawning in the east of the map is Harrison on his famous Dutch. In the west of the map, we've got nOel, spawning in the west of the map on his British. Harrison is infamous for his Dutch. His Dutch is very strong. I believe his home city level is about 117. There you go. So definitely a very experienced player when it comes to the Dutch. It's going to be like you're watching Kaiserklein playing this Dutch right now. Harrison's going to be feeling very at home. Now, keep in mind, we are in the blind civ series. This means that each player picks a civilization based on the map that they're going to get and not based on their opponent's civilization. So each player doesn't know what the other player has picked here. So this is a relatively fair matchup, I would say. Quite an even matchup here. So each player, potentially what I'm expecting to see is a 5-Hus semi from both players. Now that could change. We might not see a 5-Hus semi out of each player. We might see a bit of a boat boom, because we are on Saguenay here. It used to be called Hudson Bay, but now it's been changed over. And we see that Harrison is doing a little bit of a cheeky over here. Going to be stealing a treasure. 110 coin. Feels good, man, is what that feels. And nOel saying GG in the chat right there. I don't think that's a real GG. I think that's just a, what's the word? A bit of like a, damn it, man. It always feels really bad when that happens. It's a dangerous treasure like that to be taking because it's so close to the center of the map. But as you go closer to the center of the map, it's more likely that you're going to be losing those treasures. And unfortunately for nOel, it does mean that he loses that one. He's got a nice 75 wood treasure down here. Both players would be eyeing that off, as well as a 120 food treasure. We take a look at the north of the map. We see a 135 XP treasure above this base and an 80 coin treasure above Harrison's base. So two lovely treasures as well. Harrison apologizing to nOel. A 50 wood treasure in the base as well. So many good treasures on this map. A native scout treasure down to the south. Honestly, if I was going to do a tier list of all these treasures, every single one of these treasures is really good. Like literally every single one. Like with the exception of like maybe this one, but even this one is good in some matchups for some civs. Native Scout, one of my favorite treasures when I'm playing Sweden. When you're playing a civilization like Dutch, it's not as important. But if you're on the British, where you don't have a scouting unit like the French do, then it's a good treasure. And obviously, each civilization is going to love wood. Each civilization is going to love food. It's going to help you age up that little bit quicker. Harrison also picking up that 110 coin treasure that we saw him steal. So honestly, really, really impressive, treasures. I wish every map had treasures this good. This is like, I want to get out on the map. I want to be touching all of these treasures. I want to get my feelers out there on every single one of them. Now, a lot of fish in the water here as well. The bullying is starting. The envoy is getting bullied down by the native scout, as well as Humphrey Smith from nOel. If we take a look at the amount of resources that we've got in this sea, so we've got, I think, 1 whale, 2 whales up here, 3 whales, and 4 whales. So there is the potential for us to see some water play out of this. And now Harrison down here on the south, fighting up against both of these treasure guardians in melee. And so these are wolves. These aren't coyotes. Or as some people say, coyotes. These are not coyotes. And now got that quartermaster in queue, going to be going for a very early age up. Normally the Dutch player would be aging up around this time, but we can see Harrison is already on the way up. So doing a 14 villager age up instead of the standard 15. Losing his envoy now to nOel. We take a ride back with nOel. We see what he's up to. Is nOel doing the logistician? No, he's not. He's going up with the governor. So a little bit of a late age up for nOel. Typically, we see a British player go up about 1 villager earlier than this normally, but we've spotted a little bit of a delayed age up with the governor here. So getting caught out as well. Explorer is going to be most likely going down to the double or the explorer and the scout combination. I think Harrison knows that if he doesn't fight back, he's just going to sort of lose his explorer without gaining anything. But we do see he's got the age up in queue. So the question is he going to be able to take out the enemy scout? I think that's really what he's gunning for. We can see that he's working it down ever so slowly. Managing to drop down that bank in his base, by the way. So doing a great job of macroing at the same time that he's fighting. And it looks like that nOel's going to be losing. The scout definitely going to be going down for nOel. So this is actually a really good pickup for Harrison. Honestly, I'd be very happy with this if I was Harrison. Even though you lose your explorer, you take out the native scout from the opponent. And that is the big thing. Native scouts are really, really difficult to deal with for the entire game. You've got to be thinking about them. They're going to scout things like your artillery foundry. They're going to scout any potential shipments that you could be sending. It's just very, very frustrating to be dealing with a native scout. Now we've got Harrison hitting the second age before the 4-minute mark. So a very nice age up from him, sending in that 700 coin. And we've got the 700 wood coming in. We'll take a look at Harrison's deck, see what he's got. 1v1 semi-water. So 1v1 dealing with water a little bit. So got the improved warship card, no 2 caravels in the second age, 8 hubs in deck, 7-8 skirms, exactly what we'd expect. A very, very nice deck coming out from Harrison. I don't think I'd change a single thing about this deck. Probably a little bit weird with the factories in here. I don't think you need factories as a Dutch player. But we'll have a look at nOel and see what he is. I'm just kidding, guys. I know that there's going to be people like, what, no factories? Yeah, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. You can have factories in your deck. And now going up with the governor. And we take a look and see what his first shipment's going to be once he reaches the second age. I'm expecting that we're going to see the 700 coin, rather 700 wood coming out from him as well. So both players probably going to be mirroring each other. And nOel spotting the second bank going up and going up with 5 bills as the first shipment. This was not something I expected. So definitely throwing a spanner in the works here from nOel. Let's take a look at his deck and see what he's got. So he's got a C deck. So got the 2 caravels, the 1 frigate, as well as 2 different cards in here. So he's got offshore support instead of improved warship. So this improved warship card that Harrison's got is essentially like one of the best cards when it comes to fighting, because it's 25% health, 25% attack. But we take a look at what nOel's got. And nOel's got offshore support, which is only plus 15% attack. So you're missing out on 10% attack and you're missing out on 25% at HP. But you're getting an extra 2 range. And you've really got to ask yourself the question, is that extra 2 range worth it? Because this card used to be worth 5 range, and it was definitely worth it back then. But unfortunately, 2 range is a lot less noticeable these days. And so it means, I feel like it's just not worth the same amount that it used to be worth. So a bit of a, I wouldn't say a curious choice, but another thing that we do notice is that there's no unit shipments in the deck. A lot of upgrades in here. So we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 upgrades in here, and then 2 factory cards. 700 wood now being followed up from that 5 villager shipment. And we see a 5 hussar pop going to be happening. So I did suspect that we would be seeing some potential cav semis, and it looks like that's what we might be seeing. We take a look back at Harrison, and that's exactly what we see. Harrison now dropping down that stable and going up with the, or putting down the bank as well. So this is the bank wagon that's going to be popping, powering up to that next shipment. There it comes in. So beautiful timing there from Harrison. It looks like his macro is on point as well, sending in the 600 wood behind this. We might speed it up just a little bit. He's going to need a few more villagers on coin, I suspect. Actually, I take that back. He's going to be absolutely fine. Because he's going to be able to get a full batch in of Huss if he wants to. I would probably be cancelling this villager because you want to get out 5 hussars. Because 4 hussars, that's less than 5. And you want 5 because you know why? Your opponent is getting out 5. And 4 loses to 5. 5 beats 4. It's just basic math, kids. If you didn't go to school, I'm here to help you. 5 is more than 4 and 5 beats 4. Now, obviously, if you've got amazing micro, you're going to be fine. But, oh, no, this is a tough spot right here. Just managed to get those out. 2 hussars. Now he hasn't scouted out his opponent. Now, keep in mind, he's lost his explorer in the first stage, as well as that envoy that went down. So he is going to be losing all of that scouting vision. Finally spotting out, oh my god, Humphrey Smith managing to survive on 1 HP. And despite that, still getting snared by the hussars as they are going down. Spotting out a couple. He's got Buck the Tame Wolf here on the back line as well. Very unfortunate for Harrison that he misses out on that. He's gone a little bit idle here. The house finally going up, so it's always a little bit of a difficult spot for the Dutch players, just because there's this weird transition period between getting your 600 wood and your bank wagon that you are housed. And that's exactly what happened to Harrison. So he got housed. He could only get 4 Huss out. Now we see the battle begins, 5 Huss against 4 Huss, and this is exactly what I was talking about earlier. It means Harrison's going to have to try and get his Huss out of here. He's in a difficult spot. He is calling Minutemen here, and he's going to be able to commit to a fight, but he shouldn't even be calling Minutemen because he should have had his 5th Huss out. So it's a difficult spot for him. Losing the first Huss, the Hussar being pulled back from nOel. Very nice micro. Minutemen coming out, doing a great job of getting that first shot off. Second shot now coming off, taking down all 4 Huss, not losing a single Huss of his own except for that one that just went down. And probably going to be losing that second Huss. So 3 Hussar managed to get away. Regrouping with Humphrey Smith, who's now got 32 health, and he's going to be trying to get off individual shots onto these Minutemen once they get down to 1 HP. He's got to be very careful not to lose his Explorer, though, which is exactly what he does. He walks it in a little bit preemptively. Needed to wait for it to be on 1 HP. We can see that it does outrange the Minutemen by 4 range, so you can actually pick them all off without losing any of them. And 5 Huss now coming out for Harrison. So doing a great job. And oh my lord, Harrison, this is not conventional. I like this a lot. Dropping down the Cree outpost. The Cree Cree trading post. The Cree trading post is going to enable him to train additional settlers in the form of Corridor Bar up to a maximum of 5. Really, really nice from him. So it's essentially a second town center for only 200 wood. Really, really effective play from Harrison. I love this. I love getting it out this early as well. He's got 4 banks down, so potentially looking for that 5th bank. Also looking for that age up as well. A little bit of harassment now coming in under the town center of nOel. We see nOel does have the age up in queue, calling Minutemen of his own, but he doesn't have any potential snare that he can be getting here because his Minutemen, whilst I do think they can snare, he's got no huss underneath the town center to be able to get the snare off. So gets a couple of volleys off, and now his Minutemen, the Minutemen of Harrison, are essentially just being given up for free at this point. We've got some huss that are heading up to collect these huss from the north. Not sure whether they're going to be able to pick these ones up. They do manage to get the lock on, but unfortunately, they're just going to be able to run away. Harrison managing to get out of there quite successfully. I really love this play from Harrison. It's definitely something I want to incorporate more into my play style. It's picking up this early trading post for the Cree. It definitely feels really good to have these extra settlers out. We see Harrison queuing up 3 more Kuru to buy in here. Going to be rocketing his economy up. I'd love to see him drop down that 5th bank as well, but we're probably going to see him do that off the back of 1,000 wood in the 3rd age once he gets up. Now, typically the rule is, if you get up before your opponent does, you can send 1,000 wood. If your opponent gets up before you do, you can't send 1,000 wood. You have to send units instead. So we'll see that Harrison is probably going to be getting up just a little bit before nOel because he's going up with the Exiled Prince. So I do suspect we're probably going to be seeing 1,000 wood coming out from Harrison, and then probably from nOel we'll see either, you know, two falconets or 10 longbows or 5 hussars. He's going up with the Adventurer, which, if I remember correctly, it is 7 longbows. And so we will stay with him, we'll ride with him and just see if that's what we get out. Probably going to get some veterancy upgrades here as well in the form of some longbow veterancy as well as maybe some hussar veterancy. 1,000 wood actually coming out as the first shipment for nOel, so probably understanding the matchup a little bit more than I do, and knowing that he's got time here. Veteran hussars, veteran longbowmen coming out for nOel. Harrison's also got that 1,000 wood coming in, training from 2 military productions buildings, so he's got the stable as well as the barracks, where he's producing Rita, as well as the skirmisher. So we'll speed it up a little bit as we're in the transition period. Now we're going to have those constant unit shipments coming in. I have no doubt we're going to be having back-to-back unit shipments here. So 8 skirmishers coming in and training some halberdiers. So in this matchup, Harrison loves this matchup. He thinks that it's quite a good matchup for the Dutch, simply because the Dutch can just make halberdiers. And it's difficult because the counter to halberdiers are skirmisher units. But we take a look at the skirmisher units for the British, and, well, they're a little bit clunky. They're slow to fire. They need to stand still to get off their DPS. And they don't really have any kind of anything that can really defend them. Like, the best option that the British have got against halberdiers are something like musketeers. So, like, a mix of musketeers and veteran longbows, it can be difficult because you need them all to defend it. And then when the halberdiers get on top of the longbows, well, it's just very, very easy for them to crush, walk over the top of them. And we go back to Harrison, see what he's up to. So those halberdiers now coming out, 5 halberdiers on the front line. I'd love to see him do... So he's gone for double racks. I think this is the correct play. I would love to see Harrison triple racksing. So he did go for a stable opening. I'd love to see him dropping down a 3rd stable, drop down that 5th bank, a 3rd stable, a 3rd barracks, and quite literally just go like 50% halberdiers, 50% skirmishers. Now, he doesn't actually have the halberdier speed card in his deck. He's got advanced arsenal, which is going to increase the speed of the halberdiers, but he doesn't have the halberdier speed card. But I would love to see something like that out from him because these halberdiers are just going to start crushing. I'm looking forward a lot to this. We see 10 halberdiers now coming out. Harrison beginning to move forward, and oh no. nOel shipping Yeoman. At this point, nOel... Okay, so he's going to add 4 range to his longbows, but what's an extra 4 range going to do when your longbows have got halberdiers all on top of them? I guess that's the question I want to be asking. And so now we see, I feel like in this position, nOel would definitely want to be going for 2 falconets instead. 2 falconets would be helping him out a lot here, putting a British manor house here at the forward position, going to be giving him a little bit of line of sight potentially on this silver mine here. More longbowmen being trained out by nOel. I almost feel like he might not understand or might not know the matchup and might not know that Harrison could potentially be going for that halberdier spam. So we'll speed it up just a little bit and watch from the perspective of nOel. Now, he does have that Yeoman card, 26 range on these longbows, so definitely feels really good. One of the things I'd love to see from nOel is a little bit of walls. I'd love to see some walls up from him. Walls are going to be very good at stopping those halberdiers from pushing through. A huge, massive huss as well. So these are upgraded hussars, veteran hussars now. So 400 HP. They don't have their cav combat in just yet. We take a look at the home city. We do have infantry combat that's come in. So we'll resume back onto the battle. We've got 14 veteran hussars out now for Harrison. Harrison in a commanding position, I would say. Going to be able to pick off... We see the hussars now, the hussars moving through at the top. But on the bottom side, we've got the skirmishers that are moving through, focusing down each one of these veteran longbowmen. And more halberdiers coming in from the back. We've got a batch that looks like it's been missed. Only 2 halberdiers managing to get out. The longbowmen doing exactly what they want to do. So they're standing and firing. But we see that right now, unfortunately for nOel, the consequence of sending in yeomen as well as 1,000 wood means that you've got a lack of units. So if that had been, say, 10 longbows and 2 falconets, he'd be in a much better position at this point. But unfortunately, it means that he's in a tough spot because the Dutch player, Harrison, has pulled ahead in score, about 2.5k score, and really has just taken control of this game. Now a couple more villages going to be going down. These villages do not have great coats. You will be not surprised to know that against Harrison, that is a big mistake to make. We see some villages going down on the back line for Harrison. We'll take a look at Harrison. We see that Harrison does, of course, have his great coats, losing a couple of villages out here to the north of the map. Now, losing a Cray or Cree Kurudabar isn't a big deal for the Dutch player, and I'm going to explain to you guys why. If you lose a villager, for the rest of the game, you're down a villager. You have to wait until you reach 50 villagers before you actually repay that villager. Okay? You got to think about it, right? Okay, so that villager is collecting resources that entire time that it's no longer collecting. But for the Cree Kurudabar, you have 5 of them that you can train. That's it, just 5. And so as long as you get back up to that limit of 5, you've only lost the resources that you needed to train those Cree Kurudabar, Cree Kurudabar, as well as the resources that you didn't have in the meantime. So it's not as punishing to lose those Kurudabar as it is to lose a villager. And that's why it's a very, very strong trading post. And now we've got the halberdiers moving in on the front line. Veteran Hussar, 19 Veteran Hussar for Harrison, and I can only suspect at this point the game is well and truly over. This Hussar mass is more than enough to deal with the entire army here. Not to mention the halberdiers that are in the mix, not to mention the skirmishers that are on the back line, not to mention the reinforcing halberdiers, the 8 halbs that Harrison's sending from the home city. Just absolutely putting on a clinic right now for us, Harrison. This is impressive stuff. You can understand why he beat guys like I Am Grunt. You can understand why he beat guys like Nature Phoenix, why he beat guys like H, Kaiser Klein, and Noel calling the good game here, respecting the Harrison Dutch. And there it is. So I think that's 2 points now going over to the Harrison Dutch.